The Mega Man Zero series is regarded by many to house some of the best Mega Man experiences ever made. While Zero 1 is quite difficult from the start, Zero 2, 3 and 4 are most definitely some of the best Mega Man games out there. Zero 4 specifically is my personal favorite, and in my opinion, the best one. All Zero games have multiple weapons for you to use, but Zero 4 has one that is rather infamous and hated, the Z-KNUCKLE. A fist which allows you to punch enemies and even steal their weapons. While many people hate this weapon, I do not, and wanted to complete this game while only using the knuckle. To make my experience more difficult, I decided to do this in hard mode as well. I streamed the whole thing on my YouTube channel, and you can watch the entire VOD if you're interested. So, for clickbait reasons, the title of this video is Can You Beat Mega Man Zero 4's hard mode Z-KNUCKLE only? Firstly, let's define the rules for this challenge. Rule number 1. I can only use the Z-KNUCKLE. Subsection 1. I am allowed to use the different enemy weapons. Most normal enemies in the game allow you to steal their weapons by punching them or on occasion literally grabbing it from them. These weapons include some with unlimited uses and some with a limited amount. Subsection 2. Using the saber or gun is banned. I can't use either under any circumstances. This is fisting only. Rule number 2. I have to play in hard mode. Rule number 3. The goal is to beat the game by way of defeating Dr. Weil Phase 2. Rule number 4. No bugs or glitches, if there even are any. With these rules in place, I set out to complete Zero 4. So, without further ado, let's dive in. Get it? Mega Man X Dive? That game is terrible. In the first intro stage, we already see the usage of a bunch of weapons. The weapons I'll use most of the time have unlimited uses, since the limited ones are useless without any ammo. You quickly get over the trucks and destroy the core at the end with a laser from one of the enemies it spawns or by punching it. Next up is the second intro stage, and here it's mostly the same. However, make sure to grab 2 resources. Zero 4 has a crafting system, and to craft anything you need parts, which drop from enemies or with keratanium specifically lays around. The 2 you grab are from this little hopping cannon and this helicopter gun, both of which we got rather quickly. Wow, that was the first one! Afterwards you make your way to the boss, which you punch to death. The fist does quite a lot of damage when you charge it up, and it's the only weapon that you can charge in hard mode. Other features that aren't accessible in this mode are the Cyber Elf, one of the coolest things in this entire game. In other words, I am permanently stuck with a small amount of health. EX skills, special little upgrades to the saber and gun, are also not available, which to the fist wouldn't even have mattered in the first place. After clearing the whole intro stage, we are let loose in this game, and unlike the other 3, you get access to all initial 8 bosses from the start. Because of this and the availability of resources, I decided to go through 3 stages specifically before the others. Beating a 4th stage would force you into an intermission. First, go to the turtle stage. This stage gives us easy access to 3 resources that we desperately need. Using a laser to get the Ganger Gun part from these drills and to defeat the dragon, we jump into the big cannon. Here we let the cannon destroy these enemies, so we can quite simply respawn them and hope for their resources. We're hoping for 3 of these parts. Also, use the after death respawning 1-up to get your hands on 3 keratanium, without having to do any revisits. Keratanium is used in 2 things, one of which is the main body upgrade we'll be crafting, which will give us more iframes after being hit. The other is S-crystals. 2 of them we can trade for E-tanks, or sub-tanks as they're called in this game. E-tanks are incredibly useful in this game, and we will use them heavily. Fatals are also used in making S-crystals, but we need one of them, together with the Ganger Gun and the 2 resources from the intro, to make the double jump foot upgrade. A highly useful upgrade both in utility and conserving speed. Now we fight against the turtle. Use the laser pistol or your fist to deal damage until it's dead. It's a surprisingly simple fight once you get the hang of it. Back at base, we craft the double jump and make our way into the chicken stage. No, I will not say cock. Here we get access to 1 enemy, the Mecha Mason. This is a big thing that itself drops a resource, but it also spawns 3 enemy types, all with their own resources. Mecha Mason's resource is needed to make S-crystals, and the enemies he spawns together with 1 keratanium make the extend armor, which gives us more iframes. Grinding this out, however, might take a while. After this, navigate to the boss and simply punch him. He takes a lot of damage from charged punches. Back at base, craft the extend armor and 2 S-crystals, bringing them to this NPC for 2 sub-tanks. After just the intro stage and 2 bosses, we have a body upgrade, foot upgrade, and 2 of the 4 available sub-tanks. Next up is the flowers stage. Be sure not to go into the mini-boss fight with just your fist. Because this boss has no iframes, you can simply pepper it with a buster enemy and it'll go down swimmingly. Grab the 3rd sub-tank and get to the boss without a weapon. The flower is interesting. She can be incredibly dangerous if you allow her to spawn too many minions. With your fist, you can actually pull out the seeds from the ground. Also, she can bury herself in the ground and when she pops out can be yanked out easily, which is very funny. After that, you basically have free choice where to go next. I decided, before the intermission, to tackle the easiest level of them all, the False Sun. This level and boss is very easy, but it's even easier not just because the double jump is incredibly useful, but because of this, the Axoloid. The Axoloid gives us access to the single best weapon in the game, the axe, which deals 16 damage and has a big swing, which makes it almost perfect. The boss goes down in 8 easy hits. Just be careful about the heat and keep an eye on that number. It's time for the intermission. Go through the stage as normal, make sure to fill up your 3 sub-tanks as the boss of the stage is very, very dangerous. But before that, I had to make a decision. Fist or weapon? See, in this level, and this level only, we have access to the Moltoid, a hammer version of the Axoloid. Now, the hammer does less damage than the axe, that being 10, however, it also has a worse swing speed, making it all around a worse weapon. If it was weaker but faster, it would be alright, but because the swing speed is so slow, the boss, Kraft, can easily use his Swiss Army knife attack to punish you and potentially remove half, if not more than half, of your health. At least if it doesn't immediately hit the wall. This fight is incredibly dangerous and can take an awful amount of time. Because of this, I decided against the hammer. It just used charged punches. Kraft has a lot of attacks with lingering explosions, so only ever attack him whenever he stands around for a second and does nothing. And make sure to be far away or behind him when he uses his Swiss Army knife. This fight is intensely difficult with just the fist at its very short range. After fisting Kraft, we go to Intermission 2. This level is easy, just get through it, punch the big robot in the face and get out. Incredibly simple and easy. Now go back to either the intro stage or the flower stage and punch this mole enemy until you get its resource. It's a surprise tool that will help us later. Before we deal with the 3 hardest of the initial 8, we go to the wolf. Equip the claw, a very strong and fast unlimited use melee. This melee, like the axe or hammer, doesn't deal elemental damage like fire, ice or electric. Some bosses are immune to some elements, which is why I did use the very strong fire sword in the turtle stage. With the claw in hand, beat up the gear thingy very quickly and make your way up the building. Wait, brother, why didn't you grab the sub-tank? Yes, behind this door is the last of the 4 sub-tanks. However, there is a big problem. You have to use the other weapons to get it. How, you ask? There's this specific enemy in this level who carries a card, which you have to use on the door to open it. However, you only get access to it before the mini-boss, and the card can't really be used as a weapon, since it breaks immediately when it hits anything. So, to open the door, you have to get the card, beat the boss with either the saber or gun, then carry the card to the door. Under the rules I've set at the start of the challenge, this is impossible. So, we can only have 3 sub-tanks, which is still plenty of extra health, but it's unfortunate that we can't get it. Now to the boss. The ice floor is a problem, plus the dog is very fast. Learn his different attacks and where you can hide. Other than that, I wish you good luck. Following the defeat of the dog, we now only have 3 bosses left. Mino Magnus, Tech Kraken, and Horsey. Horsey is my least favorite boss in the entire game, for many reasons. Mino Magnus being a distant second place. I knew that beating Horsey with just the fist would be very annoying, and all of the unlimited ammo weapons in the stage are pathetically weak. Plus, he's weak to ice, and there's only a limited use ice weapon. So is this it? Am I forced to punch the flying thing? Well, there is a bit of hope. Go back to Wolf stage and defeat the glacial enemy for its resource. Then go to either the chicken or the flower stage and defeat the snake enemy until you get the resource. With the mole thing from earlier and a Mecha Mason, we can craft the A-filling head upgrade. When equipped, it has an interesting effect. If you have a limited weapon and its clip is not full, after waiting for a bit, it will completely refill its ammo every time. This makes all limited weapons into basically unlimited use ones. Asterisk, some specific weapons are still dogshit. Sure, we have to wait for like 10 seconds or something, but it's completely worth it. With this headpiece, we grab the glacial ice ball cannon from Horsey's stage and make our way to meet the manless horseman. Make sure to always stay a safe distance away from him. Don't get grabbed and flung into the death pit below. Also, be wary of the changing weather and which direction the wind goes. And, I can't stress this enough, keep track of what Horsey is currently doing, as he constantly flies around and moves out of your firing range. Also, he can dodge your shots. Be patient and aware, and you'll easily win. Oh, he tried. He fucking tried! Next up, Minor Magnus. My favorite. A bloody axe. Minor Magnus' stage is easy enough, except for this one section with the positive-negative charges, with its enemies and how the movement changes. It can get quite annoying and overwhelming. Carry the axe all the way through and fill up your sub-tanks at this specific enemy, who respawns every time you land on the ground and jump back up. The strategy against Minor Magnus is very simple. Damage boost, and run away whenever he tries to grab you or pull you in. No, I'm serious. Damage boost against his devious hitbox and just slash at him with the axe. It deals an astronomical amount of damage. Last but not least of the initial 8, we have Tech Kraken. The stage is very straightforward and easy, and the boss fight against him as well. Now, why did I include this level in the 3 hardest of the 8? The mini-boss. The Ice Dragon who kindly sends his regards. The problem with this boss is that he can freeze you and deal a lot of damage, so close range punching is risky. However, only 2 enemy types appear before this fight, both of which are throwing weapons. One of them is a one-time use, the other, I don't even know how much damage it does. It felt like it did no damage against the dragon. Plus, with it only being able to be used twice, the second time gets rid of it. Just punch the dragon, trust me, you'll be able to do it. Now, time for Tech Kraken, who is easy. Make sure you know how his attacks move, as they can be very dangerous. This Ice Spike one specifically, on your very first time, can be incredibly unpredictable. Defeat Tech Kraken with your fist while narrowly avoiding death, and it's now time for the end game. The initial 8 are down, and we are now at the 4 last levels of 04. Ragnarok is a very difficult but incredibly well designed level. However, it doesn't feature any usable unlimited weapons, and at the end, you fight Craft again. Go into the fight with your fist only again. Trust me, you'll make your life easier. Craft this time around has like 1 more attack, which, if you don't know, it can be very deadly. Punch him when the opportunity presents itself and move on. Next up is a very fun level. You have to go down 4 different corridors, pull a switch in each one, and at the end, beat a boss. 2 of these, however, give you access to unlimited ammo weapons after pulling the switch, since you have to do it with an empty fist. The path to the left gives you access to a ranged weapon from these cross thingies. It's pathetically weak and kinda useless, so do this corridor third. The 4th one, after pulling the plug, gives you this fencer enemy, the one we grinded against the floor for health in Minor Magnus' stage. He gives you access to an elemental fire stabby stabby. This one kills the boss in like 10 hits, so grab it and get down there. This boss can be damaged when it's in the foreground and can take up to 5 hits when he does his laser circle attack. It's RNG how fast the fight will go, but be wary of the damage he can deal. It's very high. Now we get into cyberspace. No, not the fun one from 03, but this one with PS1 Mega Man game graphics. This level legit has no usable unlimited weapons, so make sure you have the A-filler headpiece equipped and grab the E-laser enemy. It does fine enough damage and has 8 shots, which refills with the headpiece. It also has a nice gimmick, where when it's right above or under an enemy, it will divert its path towards it, which doesn't work for bosses, unfortunately. It's still better than punching the floating orb of energy with a deadly aura. This fight can be very dangerous, especially since he becomes faster the less health he has. My only tip is to be patient and make sure to not fall into the huge, gaping death pit. And finally, the last level. It's time for the refights. This level gives us quite the arsenal of weapons, but I suggest the claw. Refill all 3 of your sub-tanks and make your way to the boss rush. 04, unlike the other Zero games, gives you all 8 at once, instead of in multiple little packets. Defeat all of them as you would normally, but now with a claw. In the following corridor, fill your sub-tanks up with these enemies, which might take a while, but it's completely worth it. And all the way at the end, Inti Creates gives us a blessing. The axe, the best weapon, right before the final boss. Take your best friend all the way up and attempt to defeat the final boss, my personal favorite boss in all of Mega Man, Dr. Weil. And don't die on the second phase because your health got low and you didn't pay attention to it. Let's do that again. Okay. Is this last life? Okay. Ah, unfortunate. Okay, let's go. Again, this time. Don't take too much damage. Open your fucking mouth, Weil. In your mouth. It's time to eat, Weil. No! What's he doing? Yes! 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 We did it! That was Mega Man 04 Hard Mode with only the Z-Knuckle. A very fun challenge. It was very interesting to beat this game under such different circumstances as normal. The variety of weapons, the 8 of upgrades, it all made for a very interesting and very different Mega Man experience. Whenever someone says that the Z-Knuckle sucks, ask them to do this challenge. It might change their mind. In my opinion, the Z-Knuckle is the most interesting and fun weapon in all of Mega Man. Was this challenge difficult? It definitely isn't a damageless challenge of Mega Man 2, but some sections were a lot more difficult than normal. Is this challenge worth doing? Definitely. I would suggest anyone to do this themselves. This has been Scooby, and I'll see y'all next time.